I've got to be honest, Fuad. Chelsea were the better team today. They were. And the stats bear that out. Like, if you look at the stats, I think they had something like...
They had 11 shots.
11 shots on goal to our 8. And when you consider that they had down to 10 men just after half an hour, we had the vast majority of possession. Our passages of play weren't good. We didn't look threatening enough.
To start the game, I thought Chelsea took the game to them. And I think as much as it's a poor performance from Arsenal, Chelsea were also really, really, really good. Do you know what I mean? And I give Maresca credit in these big games because he goes with a different approach in each game. I think it was against you guys, he went man-to-man. He went man-to-man. Some games he goes counter. Some games he goes and says, you know what, we're going to demand the ball and we're going to be the ones. I remember PSG in the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
We all thought, PSG will have all the ball, Chelsea will play on the break. Nah, Chelsea went there, got on the ball and started playing football and they won the game. And against you guys as well, you would think the way Arsenal play, they're always superior to everybody. Maybe Chelsea are going to play on the break, see what they can do with the pace of Neto and Estevao and stuff. And they didn't allow that. Yeah. They played, and you saw the energy they started the game with was so aggressive. It was Cucurella, Caicedo. They were in João Pedro. They were into that to the point that Arsenal were like, hold on, what? Hincapi came, Calafiori came in. What's the other one? Zubamendi with a clear foul as well. So it started to become a game that maybe Arsenal weren't expecting. And you got to give Chelsea credit for that. But I do think Arsenal, I don't know. Maybe was it a big game on the weekend on Wednesday, but Chelsea also had Barcelona.
And you're right, what you said about Chelsea. They came out the traps hard. We actually made a half decent start, but once Chelsea settled, you could see that they were on it. And our passages of play, some of the passing was off, and like I said, our heavy hitters didn't get going today, and that was a surprise. But then you're right. I mean, these games are intense, and as I say to a lot of my fellow Arsenal fans is, as much as we're enjoying being top of the league and up to have us as the number one team in the world, that's all good, but you also have a target on your back. Yeah. So when you go to teams like Chelsea, who've got good players themselves, they want to show out as well, you know what I mean? And today, for whatever reason, man, just weren't quite happening for us.
How much credit does Maresca deserve for this result? Because as you said, it feels like in so many of the big games, whether it's against PSG, Barcelona, I remember Liverpool last year, United against you guys, but he always seems to find a tweak. And more than a couple times this season as well, I think Chelsea have gone down a man.
Yeah, 4 times.
A lot of the times you've seen him make these substitutions. Today there was no panic, not one defensive substitution. He just said, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. Does he almost deserve a lot of praise in these kind of big games and how he kind of tactically tweaks Chelsea?
100%. I always think when teams go down to 10 and you just relinquish the ball and wait for a team to just continuously pressure you, you're gonna concede, you're gonna lose the game. So you might as well take the game to them. You were 1 up as well. They weren't 1 up at the time, but when they went 1 up, they kept playing, and that's what I liked. You know what I mean? Because maybe Maresca's learned himself. Because you go back to the Old Trafford game, they got a red card, and then all of a sudden it was Sanchez gets the red card, I believe it was, and then Maresca makes 3 changes, and you're thinking, whoa, he takes off 3 players, he brings on. And they gave us the game, at that moment. So when you look at what he did today, maybe he's learned from that and they kept playing. I don't think Arsenal would have probably been expecting that as well, for the game to be as difficult as it was, even with 10. And then you start doing the little dark arts.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, there was more than a little of that.
My back. You know what I mean? Sanchez makes a save. I got shot. And this is what you got to do when you have 10 men. So the game management from Maresca, but also the Chelsea players, you've got to give them massive credit.
There was one thing as well I noticed that he did on a corner. I don't know if you lot saw that as well, where
I saw that.
He put the 3
he
up.
left like 3 or 4 of his players up. And I know you mentioned, I think Port Vale tried it a couple of weeks back. Now Port Vale, obviously they don't have the quality maybe to be that dangerous on the counter, but I think he might have done something there where he's opened the rest of the Premier League's eyes up to hold on. Mind you never had Gabriel. I'll be interested to see if teams try that with Gabriel still in the team. But leaving that many players high up, not allowing Arsenal to get that many bodies in the box, and then they seem to deal with it pretty easily.
When you look at these corners, a lot of it is also because it's zone, innit? Like these teams are doing zone. Arsenal standing there, but run into your zone, and then it's a problem. So, but if you bring players out, it's man-to-man marking now. So if you concede, I can directly look at you and be like, Laurie, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Not this whole whose man it is. That's good. But the thing is, it's so funny. Like I always say, it's even like the PSG goal kick. I mean,
the kick it into the corner flag.
Thing. these are things you're getting told at under 10s.
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was 11 years old, bro. Like, we used to have guys up for a counter attack, but it's like it goes away from the game. But it's good to see him do that.
We did a watch along for AFTV, and we picked up on that straight away. He was leaving 2-3 man up.
Yeah,
I was thinking, right, that's brave. But that being said, though, like you said, it does work because it can throw you off as well. You're thinking, right, they're leaving 3 man up. We've got to address that. We can't afford to get caught short. So yeah, it was quite a brave thing to do, but it was. They say sometimes attack is the best form of defence. I think that's the thinking behind it, you know what I mean? But yeah, shout out to Chelsea, man. Like I said, I was quite impressed with them today. I couldn't understand, though, maybe you guys can shed some light on it, Esteval, why he came off, because he was giving Calafiori a warm time, man. And we was all saying that come the second half, we know what he's going to do. He's going to run at Calafiori, and if we don't bring him off, make the sub, he could get himself sent off.
I think he kept on Pedro. He kept on Pedro and Pedro Neto. I think he kept on Neto because of the speed. Neto's still like quicker. You know what I mean? Just quicker. Yeah. And then Pedro is going to win fouls. He's going to be, he's going to drop deep to get the ball. He's going to hold up the game. So I think he probably thought Esteval maybe in this kind of the profile he is in the circumstance of 10 men. I think he probably thought. And there's always a case of seniority. Yeah. Always happens. The young guy comes off the pitch in them kind of difficult moments.
I think a couple of other red cards they've had this season, he's always been the one that's kind of sacrificed.
Yeah, there we go.
I think it's just kind of a protect the young guy as well, but then also let's have the experienced heads out there.
But I think in every moment, if you're talking about like every moment of where we would probably say Arsenal could have done better, there's on the opposite side, Chelsea player that is stopping that. For example, you look at Cucurella today. First, he crashes Saka with 2 tackles. The first one probably should have been a booking, but he said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it again anyway." Cucurella, what a week he's had. Like, he's played Bukayo Saka and Lamine Yamal, and he can walk away and say he was the better one. What a week! If you're talking about,
and you know what, he always does well against Saka.
Yeah, he does, because he's touch tight. He stays touch tight. He doesn't allow you to get a touch. He's maybe small in frame, but he's really, really aggressive.
And
I think
niggly, isn't he? Yeah, he knows how to put man off their game. You know what I mean? He does all the dark arts. Yeah, he's a troll. You know what I mean? You can see him talking to Saka throughout the game and stuff like that. He knows how to. He knows what he's doing.
The best thing he did today was, if you look at all the decisive actions Saka had to make today, were all on his weaker foot. All of them, right foot, except from the one moment he didn't, and he got an assist. So that shows Saka's quality. But he kept him on his right foot. Better, it's lesser of 2 evils or whatever. Let him shoot on his right, let him cross on his right. And sometimes Saka was, I don't know, he was aiming for the shed end or something.
But I feel like one we really need to touch on, I feel like man of the match. Everybody was talking about Rice, Caicedo, Mendy, but Reece James. Absolutely put on a clinic, bro. Both ends of the pitch, his passing, his defending. What did you make of his game?
What a player. Bro, I don't think anybody has ever not thought that Reece James is a world-class player. I think he's a world-class player and a world-class football player, right? So, footballer, sorry. With Reece James, it's always been fitness. That's all it is. Can he stay fit? When he was right back, it was Reece James, Trent. Who do you prefer? What they offer? Reece James always felt like the more complete player. Yeah. Trent was more of the assist man, more of the killer in front of in the final third. But Reece James had that as well. Do you remember that season with Tuchel, him and Ben Chilwell scoring for fun? We know that Reece James is a world-class player. It's just the fitness. But the fact that he's now gone from right back, showing that he's an elite level right back, is now going into midfield, staring at Declan Rice, staring at Zubimendi alongside Caicedo, and said, this is my show. You know what I mean? Let me show you guys that I'm on par too.
And that's the thing. He was on the table with premier players.
He was on the table. We're talking about these guys as the best in the world. Yeah. Reece James showed that he's an elite level player. That's all it is.
He was very impressive today.
His pressing, his aggression. It was a captain's performance. And I was super impressed with him. But it's not something that nobody knows. We all know Reece James is world class.
Do you know what's crazy though? Is I remember like the Trent conversation. It's funny you bring that up, because when he moved into midfield, it didn't feel like there was this kind of sense of composure that there is around Reece James. Everyone was like, get him back out on the wing where he can actually do what he does best. And everyone didn't enjoy him in midfield. Yeah. Whereas Reece James, you haven't heard any of that. It's like he's settled in like it's nothing. And I know he used to play that role for Wigan when he was on loan way back. But that muscle memory for 4 years, 5 years later is insane.
But it's not only that. You look at just the makeups of the way they play the game. Like Trent is very a forward player. You know what I mean? People think midfield just means if you can pass, you can play midfield. It's not about that. Reece James is a lot better getting around the pitch first and foremost. Yeah. Look at the way when he receives the ball. He's much better at receiving the ball on the half turn. He can play in midfield. It's like Trent he gets the ball. Look, he's that way. He's like an arrow.
His body, yeah.
You know, if you look at the arrow, it's like Football Manager. Trent is that's it. You know what I mean? Reece James is able to get around. It's the mobility around the pitch and stuff. And I think people sometimes just think about passing. It's not just about passing. Why you can play in midfield. You know what I mean? So I want to give a shout out to Fofana as well, man. I mean, he seems like a forgotten man, right? Yeah. He showed himself today as really
well. He's always been a good player.
Yeah,
I mean, you probably know, but him and Saliba used to play together in France.
Yeah.
And in that partnership, he was seen as the senior partner. Yeah. So I know he hasn't always covered himself in glory at Chelsea. I know he's had injuries as well. But he was good today.
I think that's been the main thing, though, is like over the past 3 years, like from one knee to the other to other muscular injuries. It's just physically. His body's just let him down, but big up Chalobah as well.
Yeah, but I feel like with Fofana there, it made Chalobah look better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Fofana feels like an A-side centre-half. You know what I mean? Don't you?
I've always thought Fofana has that capability. It's just a matter of post-fitness, he needs to show us. Because what I saw at Leicester, I will never forget.
Yeah.
I was like, when they paid 80 million, bargain. And then the injuries came, and then when he comes back half fit, there's like a... as you're saying with Saka, there's that adaptation period where you're not really trusting your body. And you felt like he was almost mentally playing within himself. But today,
if he can stay fit, which is a big ask, right? I'm looking at Chelsea's spine, where I'm thinking maybe there's stuff that they can improve on. Maybe Robert Sanchez is having a good season.
Hey,
let's give him.
I said it last week, bro.
Yeah, he is having a good season. But I feel like. I still look at it like maybe I'm harsh, but I still think can Chelsea get a better goalkeeper in? And then you look at the striker. But if you think if they can get a better goalkeeper in, but again, maybe I'm being harsh to Sanchez, but then you got a fit Fofana, then you got Caicedo into Cole Palmer, then into an Osimhen or something.
Entry into the building.
Lucky to get a point, yeah.